You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Tuesday, August 18th. I'm Johnny Kahner. Thank you for watching and listening to Four Things to Know today. Let's get started. Our top story. 4 months after Congress voted to overturn a 20-year federal ban on mining near Minnesota's boundary waters, Governor Tim Walz is announcing an executive order to prevent mining of copper, nickel, and other precious metals within the Rainy River Headwaters Watershed. WCCO's Adam Duxter heard the governor at a news conference today. Here's his report from about noon.
For conservationists or environmentalists, there's no other way to put it than this is a massive win for them. This is something they are wholeheartedly behind. But for many who would hope that mining would bring an economic boom or jobs to the area, they say what this does is take away a chance for growth before these projects even fully go through review. But with just months left in Governor Walz's tenure here in the state of Minnesota, he says what this does is signify a significant step forward in protecting the boundary waters for the long term. Now, the order itself directs the DNR and Minnesota's Pollution Control Agency to stop all permitting and environmental review work on what's considered non-ferrous mining projects in the Rainy River Headwaters Watershed. It also directs the DNR to review existing mining leases and to not issue any new ones. Now, this is a major blow specifically to the Twin Metals project that we've been reporting on for years, because when Congress overturned that federal ban months ago, they felt like their project was closer than ever. But today, the governor says that's not happening.
As far as my administration is concerned, the fight for the future of the boundary waters is over. The verdict is in. The decision's been made. We will protect this place forever.
You can imagine the first question that Governor Walz got was, what if Republican Lisa Demuth wins in November and she decides she wants to overturn this executive order? And he says, well, that's something that is certainly a possibility. What he is signaling for is for our state legislation to make a law in this upcoming session, something the DNR says they will support through and through.
Environmental group Save the Boundary Waters is celebrating the announcement. Executive Director Ingrid Lyons said in a statement, quote, Governor Walz just stood up for Minnesota, for Minnesotans, and for the boundary waters. The federal government sold out our canoe country earlier this year by stripping away protections that took hundreds of thousands of Minnesotans' voices and years of work to secure, all while ignoring science and the will of the public, close quote. Meanwhile, DFL State Senator Grant Hochschild says he strongly disagrees with the governor's decision, saying in part, quote, Minnesota has some of the strongest environmental and labor standards in the country. If a project cannot meet them, it shouldn't move forward. I also don't believe politicians should pick winners and losers and decide the answer before the science and the process have had their say, close quote. Minnesota Republicans are also pushing back. House GOP floor leader Harry Niska said, quote, removing any opportunity for these mining projects to even start through Minnesota's incredibly rigorous environmental review and permitting process is short-sighted, and it will damage the fragile economy in northern Minnesota. Iron Rangers deserve better, close quote. And since we're talking about the boundary waters, let's get you updated on wildfire conditions. Those are improving. Firefighters are being aided by rain and cooler weather. All evacuation orders for St. Louis and Lake counties have been lifted, and as of last week, the Superior National Forest reports portions of the forest have reopened for public use. We are told nearly 75% of the Boundary Waters 2,000 campsites are now available. Lightning did start the wildfires in that area at the beginning of July. They burned nearly 75,000 acres. Your second thing to know, Minnesota's Attorney General is trying to get legal action to get an ICE agent extradited to Minnesota. Attorney General Keith Ellison is suing Texas Governor Greg Abbott to get that extradition. The agent is accused of shooting a man in North Minneapolis in January. Christian Castro is charged with 4 counts of second-degree assault and 1 count of falsely reporting a crime. Charges say he lied about the shooting, claiming he was attacked, but documents say his versions of events are contradicted by the video of the incident. According to Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty, Castro was arrested by the Texas Rangers back in May. Documents then show on June 2nd his extradition was first requested, and then last week a second letter called for Abbott to sign the extradition warrant with a deadline of 5 p.m. last night. Now Ellison hopes a lawsuit will be enough to compel him.
I should never have to file this lawsuit, but I have done so today to protect the Constitution, the rule of law, Minnesota's rights, and the people of the state of Minnesota, and, of course, the fair administration of justice. Christian Castro is not above the law, and Greg Abbott isn't either.
Ellison added there is urgency to his actions, saying Texas has a 90-day limit on detention of fugitives awaiting extradition. That means that next week, Castro could walk free and flee trial in Minnesota. Number 3, community leaders gathered today to condemn reports of federal surveillance during Operation Metro Surge. We heard from a bunch of local leaders in downtown Minneapolis this morning. They were calling out reports that the feds were spying on Minnesotans during the ice surge. And according to government documents, undercover Homeland Security officers posed as protesters to spy on community meetings at places like churches, parks, libraries, and schools. And now advocates like Jen Crow, who's a minister in Minneapolis, are calling on Minnesota companies to publicly reject surveillance and call for transparency.
We are calling on other communities of faith, on our elected officials, on Minnesota businesses to stand together, to say no to political surveillance and intimidation, to say yes to holding together as a community, to caring for one another.
When asked for comment last week, Homeland Security said it did not comment on ongoing investigations or methods. Number 4, another update today in Minnesota's fraud crisis. A Fridley man is accused of stealing over $300,000 by billing for Medicaid services that he allegedly did not provide. His name is 60-year-old Mohammed Haji Rashid, and he's charged in Ramsey County with 9 counts of theft by false representation. Documents say over the span of about 4.5 years, Rashid operated a home health care in Minneapolis and Columbia Heights. But he allegedly billed more than 3,300 instances of services that he did not provide. And here's a few of those examples on how he may have done it. One personal care assistant that Rashid employed said Rashid told her to bill for more hours than she really worked. Another client said Rashid submitted claims for personal care assistants that never actually provided those services. We'll keep you updated on where that case goes. Those are your 4 things to know today. Let's get a check-in now on our next weather forecast.
We're tracking the chance for a couple more scattered thunderstorms on Tuesday afternoon, although most of them should be south of the Twin Cities. A nice break day Wednesday, and then back to a severe weather threat coming up for Thursday, followed up by potentially back-to-back top 10 weather days. We've got what you need to know to plan around the changeable weather on our website, on our app, on the stream, and on TV.
And now, here's more to know.
Tonight, community members are invited to remember one of the lives taken in last year's Annunciation tragedy. A bench will be dedicated tonight on Grass Lake in remembrance of Fletcher Merkel. He and Harper Moisky were killed in last year's shooting. Tonight's dedication is open to everyone, and organizers say you're welcome to bring something special to leave at the bench. The event is happening at 6:30 on the east side of Grass Lake in South Minneapolis. That's near where Lindale meets Highway 62. A touching tribute in Hopkins brought friends, neighbors, and loved ones to remember lives lost to violence in their own home. Kristen Brown and her 7-year-old daughter, Evie, were killed last week. Police say Kristen's husband, Nathan Brown, attacked them in their at-home daycare while several other children were inside. Before killing his wife and daughter, police say Nathan first killed his mother, Alice. Last night's vigil was full of balloons, painted rocks, and chalk. The community rallied together in song, lighting candles, and sharing memories. And friends like Terry Blue are remembering Alice as a kind and loving person who spent many of her days volunteering.
She was such an amazing person, and so many people loved her. She was just such a beautiful soul.
Alice was killed first before Evie and Kristen, and that happened in her own home in Burnsville. Her son Nathan had been living with her at the time. To politics now, the federal government will not have access to some of your private information as a voter. That's because yesterday, a federal judge dismissed a DOJ suit to obtain Minnesota voter rolls that include things like your name, birthday, address, your driver's license number, and even the last 4 digits of your social security number. The Trump administration sued Minnesota and more than 20 other states, claiming they need the information to prevent fraud and keep non-citizens from voting, but they have lost all of those cases. The ACLU called Monday's ruling an important win for Minnesota voters. Drive sober or get pulled over. That's some words of warning for Minnesotans from the Department of Public Safety as it is ramping up patrols starting through Labor Day. To help drive home the message, a man arrested back in 2023 for driving while impaired shared his story.
The truth is, the shame had already started before the trooper ever arrived. You see, I'd pulled over. I knew I had been drinking too much, and I knew I shouldn't have been driving. But it was too late. And then, quite literally, someone shined a light on me.
So far this year, 62 people have died in drunk driving crashes, and law enforcement has arrested more than 13,000 people for DWI. The home of an iconic Minneapolis pub is up for sale, and with it comes a whole lot of history. You may have heard of it. It's called the CC Club. It's been operating in Uptown since the end of Prohibition. The building, along with the two neighboring properties, are all listed together, but without a sale price. One of those properties, of course, houses the popular French Meadow Bakery. Love that breakfast spot. But there's no indication that any of those businesses would close because of the sale. I hope not, because they really do a great breakfast. I highly recommend it. Let's get to sports. The Twins finally stopped their losing streak. They had lost 3 in a row, but they got a win last night over the Braves. They host the Braves again tonight at Target Field. In high school football, it's here. Today is the second day of practice for schools across the state. Mike Mack says Shakopee is considered a top 3 team in Class 6A with a plethora of scholarship prospects as well. He says the Sabres could be the team to beat, and for Coach Ray Betton, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
I was up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm super excited, man. It's just, can't sleep at night. You know, even though we've done things over the summer, it's official. You know, and it's a go, and I mean, obviously it's my kids last year too, so it's even more special that way. So it's always a great feeling.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
Don't forget to check your DMs. Those stand for direct messages, if you didn't know. Listen to this. A social media message led to an unforgettable surprise for a vintage clothing store in Wisconsin.
It normally takes us a while to respond, but luckily we saw that one right away. And we were like, yeah, come through. We'll happily stay open for you guys. We had to stay here anyway and get some stuff done at the shop. But unbeknownst to us, it was Ed Sheeran's wife.
Yeah, that's right. Superstar Ed Sheeran and his family stopped by 01 Vintage in downtown Oshkosh. Staff says they showed up without security or an entourage, and they spent about 90 minutes browsing the racks, picking out several items. And one employee wanted to know why stop in Oshkosh.
His wife mentioned to us that the kids, that their 2 daughters, always wear Oshkosh Bagosh clothes. Oshkosh has been around forever, but they always throw their kids in like the really cool bibs that are super colorful, whatever. So they wanted to actually come and visit Oshkosh, which was really, really cool.
The employees say they were the nicest and most down-to-earth people, and the family also stopped at a frozen custard shop. Well, you have to. You're in Wisconsin. Duh. Sheeran is on his way to Toronto after performing here in Minneapolis last weekend. That's pretty cool. Well, I'm Johnny Kahner. This has been 4 Things to Know. We, of course, are here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock. You can watch us on YouTube, Spotify, listen to us wherever you get the show. We do appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a good Tuesday night.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.